Very Bad Wizards is a podcast with a philosopher, my dad, and a psychologist, Dave Pizarro, having an informal discussion about issues in science and ethics. Please note that the discussion contains bad words that I'm not allowed to say, and knowing my dad, some very inappropriate jokes.
I don't like crooks, and if I did like them, I wouldn't like crooks that are stool pigeons. And if I did like crooks that are stool pigeons, I still wouldn't like you.
The great boss has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you? Who are you? A very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Good man. They think deep thoughts, and with no more brains than you have.
Pay no attention to that man.
Anybody can have a brain.
You're a very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Just a very bad wizard.
Welcome to Very Bad Wizards. I'm Tamler Summers from the University of Houston. Dave, even after 11 and a half years, we've found a way to piss off a new community after last episode. Can you guess who that is?
White guys on the spectrum.
More specific than that, though.
The effective altruists? Did we piss them off?
I don't think so.
No.
We've paid definitely some of them. Like, are they really effective altruists if they were pissed off? That's like, kind of begging the question. But no, what I'm thinking of, because we've probably pissed off the effective altruists before, I don't believe that we've ever pissed off anesthesia Reddit.
Really? We did?
Let me read you. I went to the Reddit page. I haven't read all of it because there's a lot of stuff on the effective altruist aspect of it, but I did see this. The discussion of general anesthesia was hard to listen to due to the ignorance of the three interlocutors. There are great articles on this subject, hyperlinked, that are comprehensible to a non-medical audience. Even better, have on a physician anesthesiologist who can explain what is known about this subject. It may not surprise you that a medical specialty that disconnects people from reality, among other things, has thought and researched this subject a great deal.
So I was right? White guys on the spectrum?
Exactly. Look, it's true that we should have had an anesthesiologist on last episode if we were going to bring it up in past.
That's right. That's right. Obviously, we did not stick to the usual rigorous standards of Very Bad Wizards by not having an expert on something we mentioned off the cuff.
If we were going to talk about it and even have an opinion about it, we normally have an expert. But this time,
I'll read the articles though. Obviously, I'm very curious. I have friends who are anesthesiologists. Does that count? I haven't talked to them about this.
Is this a guy? Because I just clicked on the link and it's just actually an article. Was this a way for this guy to get his article?
Was it his article?
I don't know.
I mean, look, I should just say.
This looks like a real article.
I trust the anesthesiologist. I'm not gonna say.
Know. I don't trust big anesthesiology. Like this guy probably, the little bat signal went off that we were talking, we exposed their secret. I don't know why it didn't go off when Paul Bloom already said this. But, release the Reddit hounds. Then they all go. This guy clearly has never listened to an episode before. He got, but that, there's a whole web. It's like a Thomas Pynchon novel. It's like a web of anesthesiologists that
they all commented?
Shutting down debate, honest debate and discourse, Israel Gaza.
They have a secret cabal of anesthesiologists. Just wipe their memory. Right?
All
They're
this
like the
did
Men
was
in
make
Black.
me more curious to dig into your dirty secrets.
Anesthesiologists are just like Men in Black. They just do their shit and then erase your memory right afterwards.
Exactly.
Send me that article. What does the article say?
You can go to the Reddit page.
I guess.
And click on the link. There are great articles on this subject that are comprehensible to a non-medical audience. Yeah, definitely a regular listener.
Our regular listeners don't call us interlocutors unless they're Jeffrey Waddimal.
Right. Even he will try to come up with something a little even more pretentious. Speaking of which, not pretentious. We love Jeffrey Watermill, but there is a great satire of literary pretension coming up, but also just a great story. The Borges, the Aleph, will be the subject of our main segment. But first,
we're taking a departure from our most recent mockery opening segments where
we can't take another Reddit comment like that. So
that's right. I'm not going to mention any areas of expertise. We're doing, this was your idea, top 3 things we've watched this year. So I have my list ready to go, but I'm insecure because I'm not going to be able to match your depth here. I was just mention a reality show and sitcom.
Is Keanu Reeves going to be involved?
Yeah, exactly.
Keanu Reeves memes. This was just the best 3 things we saw this year. Now, I totally cheated a little bit in mine, but I get it. You're worried that yours is going to be too basic.
Exactly.
And I'm honestly a little worried that mine is a little too basic because, I don't know, it was a basic year. It was a great year, but it was a basic year.
Yeah, right. And I didn't put stuff that I happened to watch this year, but that was old or whatever, because I've watched some good old movies, but I didn't think that was in the spirit of what we're saying. So, all right, my first is just Oppenheimer. I can't. Is that on your list too?
It is on my cheating list.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It was my favorite experience in a movie theater this year.
Yeah. And I didn't even see it in the good theater. I saw it in regular old theater. Yeah, I mean, I love Nolan already, but I think that he's just at the top of his craft right now. There's a lot to say about this movie, but visually, storytelling, acting, character, even just the cinematography of a balm is amazing.
It also doesn't have some of the things that he can be bad about, I feel like. It doesn't have the kind of ponderous exposition, even though you would think this movie would be the perfect opportunity for the ponderous exposition that can kind of be annoying in Inception, and even this kind of speechifying in the Batman movies. It doesn't do that at all. It trusts its audience, I guess, Dunkirk did in a way, but it's still very verbal. It just doesn't do the kind of clumsy exposition and speech stuff that he can sometimes, I'm not a huge Nolan guy, but that's one of the things that keeps me away from some of his movies. And I'm I was amazed at how little of that was in Oppenheimer.
I've never thought of him as being too exposition-y. I get what you're saying. But
I mean, Inception. Come on.
I don't remember. I guess. What I liked about this is that he avoided what he was falling deeper and deeper into, which was creating more and more confusing labyrinths that were just completely rendered the movie Tenet inscrutable, probably after 3 viewings. He can't, obviously Nolan's never going to give you a straight timeline. He can't,
chronological
he
narrative.
Can't do that. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
But it was fine. I thought it worked really well in this movie. And some of those performances were just so good.
So good.
Yeah. I think he's underrated casting Nolan does.
Yeah. Florence Pugh.
Yeah. I know.
Always good to see her. Always really good to see her. Yeah. Matt Damon is, I think, great in it.
So
and the movie needs him when he comes in. It's been visually amazing and really cool, but just kind of not dreary, but heading that way. And then it's just kind of perfect.
Yeah.
So all throughout. Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
great
is so
in it.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll wait until, because this is part of a category that I have.
You have categories. All right. Well, it's your turn now.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go to that then. This was the best year for actually feeling like movies in a movie theater have a future that I can remember in a long time, At the same time that the MCU people were just kind of not into it. Not for everything. Guardians 3 or whatever did okay, or did pretty good. But like there was just a bunch of them that just kind of bombed.
They've just been shitting the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody cared. Like, it was just like the country all of a sudden came to its senses. And also, I think the movies have gotten worse.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, just too many. Just even if you just can't maintain that frenetic pace of movie making, like the audience will get weary of it.
Yeah, and they don't want to also have to have watched like 8-9 other movies and 2 other TV shows to like appreciate what's going on.
It's cute how much you undercounted how many you have to watch.
Yeah, they've just kind of run out of ideas. It's like Pixar. The new people have. Yeah. I think the difference is that Pixar was once really good. One thing, we just saw The Boy and His Heron, which is.
Oh, you saw it? Oh,
yeah.
Man. I was talking to some of my daughter's friends who just saw it too, and they loved it. Did you like it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, there was a trailer for Inside Out 2.
Oh no.
And there's a new emotion in this one.
Oh, no. What
do you think it is?
Oh, God. Nostalgia.
No.
Contempt.
No, that would be more interesting. Also, she's getting older, so you would think maybe like some like
shame.
Lust or shame or
embarrassment.
Yeah, like lust. I don't know. Tingling,
what is it?
Anxiety.
Oh my God, man.
So,
oh my God.
Your ass used to be beautiful, Pixar. What are you doing? Anyway, yeah, I have this whole like cheating category of just movies I saw in the movie theater and absolutely loved this year. Like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, I thought was great.
All right, well, that's on my list too. But
it is.
But it's okay because I have a couple of add-ons that I'm going to talk about when I talk about that.
Okay. Well, I'll let you. This is kind of my cheating. This isn't actually on my top 3. It's just the category is things that I saw and loved in the movie theater. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer. Now, I think that Oppenheimer I saw it with in IMAX just by myself. I saw it in 70 millimeter IMAX in fucking San Antonio. That inexplicably just has one. There's like 19 in the whole country or something. And
do you know that they can only film like 15 minutes at a time on that format?
No.
It's 70 millimeter IMAX. It's like they're shooting film on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. That film is huge, and the machines that make it are actually so loud. The movie cameras that do it are so loud that the audio people have issues. It's very hard to get clean audio.
It was actually audio-wise, like, I thought better than the regular IMAX because it was able to modulate the audio more. It was incredible. We saw it on our way. It was me and my daughter, and we saw it on our way camping out in the area where like all that was happening.
That's cool.
And it was so cool. And that was like my favorite. That was my favorite experience just because, I'm with my daughter where like, I did see Oppenheimer regular then with my wife. And I don't know if it was just the third time I'm seeing it and it's a 3-hour movie, but like it didn't seem as good. Like I do think IMAX matters. And since it's getting a re-release on IMAX places, I recommend listeners go see that. But honestly, one of maybe the coolest movie theater experience was when I went with my wife to see Stop Making Sense in the theater. They were doing a re-release. It was like a remastered Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads documentary.
I have no idea what it is. What is it?
Stop Making Sense? The Talking Heads? You know the Talking Heads, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's just about the Talking Heads.
It's just a concert movie of
I know what it is.
The Jonathan Demme. Yeah. It's, like one of the, if not the best concert documentary of all time. And I'm not like, I'm a big Talking Heads fan to a degree, but this is so good. This is undeniable. Like David Byrne, he kind of annoys me. Like I've seen him a few times over the last like 10, 15 years. But like the talent and the music is just so freaking good. And the movie is so good. It just works so well. That was probably my favorite. I loved Boy and His Heron. I loved Killers of the Flower Moon. But if I'm going to pick like the most like, holy shit, like I never saw this in the theater when it came out. And I had just seen it on DVD, Blu-ray, streaming. And it was very cool to see it in the theater. It was awesome.
I was confused because when you said Talking Heads documentary, I thought you just meant like a documentary where like they were interviewing people as talking
right.
heads.
That's, I guess, understandable. If I hadn't said stop making sense already.
Yeah. And 1984 was, I was 9,
Yeah.
Cool.
Boy and His Heron is great. Also saw it in IMAX because they're releasing it. This is the thing about the fucking Marvel movies not just taking over everything is like they have I saw Killers of the Flower Moon. I don't think you need to see that in IMAX. It's awesome right in the regular movie theater. But like Boy and His Heron was just in the local IMAX, subtitled Boy and His Heron in our IMAX that's like 10 minutes from my house in like a strip mall is pretty cool. Like I just like thank God that whatever the spell that was cast has been broken.
Well, you haven't even done one of your real ones, and I've already done one of mine. So you have to give one.
That was it. Stop Making Sense.
Oh, Stop Making Sense.
I chose that. Like Oppenheimer was my favorite experience, but of the best thing that I saw was Stop Making Sense in the theater.
So I was gonna have Spider-Verse as my second one, and like just to say a few things. I already love animation, but I feel like this year I've been getting nerding out a little bit more about just the art of animation and appreciating it a little more. And the 2 Spider-Man animated movies from Sony that they've put out are just like so refreshing. They're so creative and visually just stunning. And one of the things that I love that they do is they bring in elements of traditional 2D animation. They blend all these styles together into, and then of course storytelling, because if you don't have storytelling, it's not going to have a good movie, no matter how cool the animation. But I'm just of the opinion that everybody needs to stop doing comic book movies that are real life. Yeah. Stick to animation. I thought this after the first one, but
I've told this story, but like we saw the trailer for The Flash.
Oh my God, that is one of the worst.
Yeah,
I haven't watched it. It's painful.
The trailer for it, it's like, and it was right before seeing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where it's like so beautiful and like, all these artistic styles from all these different comic books over the last like 30 or 40 years, it just goes into that movie. And then you see also something that's almost equally animated, but it's just this CGI fucking bullshit. And it looks horrible. And Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse looks amazing. It's like, why don't you just do that? Like, just do that. It made a ton of money. Like,
well, I'll tell you one reason.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse they put years into that with real animators. And my understanding of that Flash movie is that they were like literally paying, like CGI sweatshop people last minute, which, gets me to one of the things that I was going to add on to this as a recommendation. There's a documentary about the history of animation called Pencils versus Pixels that came out this year. And it's just great. It tells the story of essentially from the beginnings, the Disney studio animation, all the way to the sort of Pixar and the advent of CG and the kind of tension that grew around 2D versus 3D computer animation. And it interviews a ton of the original artists and like critics. Leonard Maltin is still alive and he's in it. And it's very scary to see him. Just fair warning.
He came to one of my daughter's classes at UT.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was like texting me, "Do you know Leonard Maltin?"
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Pencil vs. Pixels, it's a good documentary. I recommend it. And then there's a YouTube channel that I've just like consumed. This year I consumed, I think, everything they've put out. It's called The Corridor Crew. And it's a group of CG animators themselves, or artists, I should say, visual effects artists who work in CG, who have, every week they'll just review it's called Good and Bad CG. And they'll just point out. So like, that's how I learned about The Flash. So they'll show clips of like amazing stuff and they'll give like a real educated take on it. Like, I was just watching one where they were talking about The Abyss, like the groundbreaking work of Cameron on that to do those effects at that time. which, by the way, just got re-released in 4K. Like they
Really?
transferred it. Yeah. And these guys also have a series on good and bad animation, and they bring in like real big names in Hollywood of all of the people who are working on these movies behind the scenes, and have them talk about the movies that they've worked on. It's just super interesting. So yeah, those are my two add-ons: Pencils versus Pixels and the Corridor Crew.
Corridor Crew.
Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Boy and His Heron, or Boy and the Heron, I think it is. Although it's not the title in Japan. In Japan, it's How Do You Live, which is a much better title for the movie. Visually incredible, absolutely incredible. The story-wise, if you're going to have an issue, and I want to see it again, but story-wise, maybe there's some problems. Visually, at every moment, I was just in awe. Speaking of just like 2D painted animation.
Yeah.
I mean, he will go to a little CG occasionally, but this is also just all the best Ghibli animators just fucking going off. From what I understand, bringing their own twist on things too, and it was amazing.
I can't wait to see it and to see the behind the scenes.
See it in the theater.
In the theater. If you lived in Ithaca, you wouldn't be so excited about the theater.
I might be right.
It's essentially like I could get a projector in my house.
We just went. We got to pick pretty much whatever like IMAX
I know. You're like when you said our local IMAX.
It would have been shut down for a while. I thought it was going away forever, and then it just magically appeared again. It was. I love it.
I mean, Nolan. People like Nolan. They actually put money into those.
They did. Yeah. He's so good about the theater experience, even when it was a bit of quixotic, like with Tenet in the movie theaters during COVID. Right. It was like, here's my least accessible movie that I'm just.
You can't even hear what the guy's saying throughout the whole movie.
All right, so this category is movies I saw for the first time. I'm not just going to cheat and list a bunch of them, but I will say probably the best one I saw for the first time is In the Mood for Love by Wong Kar-wai, which is fucking incredible. You would love it too. You love movies that are like paintings. And
I don't know anything about it.
It's really good. You would love it. You would even love the kind of, the quasi story that goes with it. But the one I wanted to highlight, even though it's more of a movie from last year, but I saw it at the beginning of this year. And I also kind of promised my daughter, who just got her wisdom teeth out, or 3 of them out, in a misbegotten.
Does she just have one?
But anyway, After Sun. Did you see After Sun?
No.
This is a movie that came out kind of late last year. I didn't see it until January, February of this year. It's by the first movie of this director, Charlotte Wells. It has Paul Mescal, who is like the Gen Z dream. Did you ever see the TV show Normal People?
No.
He was one of the stars in that. And it's just him as a very young father. You should definitely see this. And his 13-year-old daughter, he's clearly divorced from, or if they ever got married. I don't know if we ever find that out. And he's just on a vacation with his daughter. The two of them in this kind of beach resort. And it's so beautiful. Just this father-daughter. She's about 12, 13 years old. And the girl Frankie Corio is it's amazing, and you would think their interactions are it's so naturalistic, but also really actually kind of surreal, and it's just also just one of the most, I don't know, you're sobbing at the end of this movie if you're human.
A father spending time with his 12 or 13-year-old daughter is exactly what we're nostalgic for. It's probably
exactly.
just
right. And I actually think you would love this movie. You should bump it to the top of your list. And if any listeners haven't seen it, people have asked us to do it, and I don't know about that, but it's certainly a movie to watch.
Good. Okay. So you didn't say it had to be movies. We just said watched.
Yeah.
So I am going to, there's one I wanted to say, but I'm sure we can both talk about it. That 3rd season of Righteous Gemstones, I think it's just such good comedy.
So fun.
It's just I think it's so hard to do good comedy. I think we talked about it in one of our AUAs.
To do that kind of comedy where you're kind of satirizing a conservative religious institution without coming off
Without
like
being
a total
yeah.
smug asshole.
Exactly.
Like it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The one that I wanted to just put on people's radar, I'm trying to get you to watch it, is the docuseries Welcome to Wrexham, which is about Ryan Reynolds and what's his name, Rob McElhaney,
Mac Jones,
who bought this Welsh soccer team.
Oh yeah.
And there's been 2 seasons out now. I kind of was like, I'll just watch an episode, and it's just good. It's well done, and it has so much heart because it really is about this town and this like little, it's like essentially one of these like towns that hasn't had, they used to be coal mining and then shut down a long time ago. Yeah, exactly. They've had one of the worst runs of luck in soccer in the UK, where they've been relegated and haven't been able to claw their way back up.
What are they? How far are they from Premier?
They're like as far down as you can go and still be pro. So they're like 5 levels down.
Wow.
Well, at the start of the series. Yeah. So, you think, and this is what I thought, like, and a lot of the townspeople thought, these 2 fucking like Hollywood guys who know shit about soccer are coming in and like, what is this? Like, they're going to abandon us after 2 years. Like, they were actually sour on the whole thing. And they have to like, totally understandably, and they understand it. And they have to like work their way into the hearts of these people. They have to earn it. And they really do. And it's just a very human story, but it's everything. I think I was telling you, it's everything that's good about sports. Comes out in this, like it's the power that it has to bring them together. They basically have like the oldest international stadium in the world, which is, it looks like the oldest in the world. And so they put some money toward renovating it, and you learn about the players. It's good. It's
like
it's
Ted
very,
Lasso,
very good.
but you don't want to like blow your brains out while you're watching.
It's with real people. Oh my God, Ted Lasso. My penis gets soft whenever like that word, Ted Lasso.
Do you remember having to like during sex like think of something like Ted Lasso? Like,
yes.
Those were the days.
There's a Seinfeld episode where George goes, what happened? I went from finishing way too fast to not being able to finish at all. Where was the sweet spot? All right, that's my list.
All right, this completes it, but I want to be clear. This isn't my favorite thing that I saw. My favorite thing that I saw is all the ones in the movie theater. And I just loved this year for movie theaters, and I'm not sure if like the movies are better than last year, but the theater going experience was way better, and like people are all going to it. Every time I saw Oppenheimer, it was fucking packed. 3 times. Like I saw it like 2 months after it came out, and it was still packed. Like thank God. I'm so happy. But I had to christen my new system, my new movie palace, my movie palace that we just kind of finished, and it's kind of the soundproof room for recording this stuff, and a nice big OLED TV and a good sound bar. And the movie that like I feel like was the first movie I get, why you want this kind of setup, was The Lighthouse. The Robert Eggers movie, The Lighthouse, with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. And it's just visually incredible. It's black and white. It's in this kind of aspect ratio that's really boxy, like 1.19, I think, to 1. And, the thing about these, like, OLED style TVs is the blacks. That's what everybody says. And this movie just brings that out. And also the sound of it is incredible. And it was, I don't know, like I watched it. I took like time from grading. Just like a big contrast to just go in, watch it. Like we don't even have a couch yet. So I sat on the floor and just watched The Lighthouse on this Blu-ray that I have of it, and it was fucking phenomenal. Like, it was amazing. And it's a great movie. We could actually do it. It's been definitely requested a few times. Have you seen it?
No.
It's really freaking good, and I'll always be grateful to it because I will remember that it is the first time I got like a good experience with this new system that we have. I've been looking forward to forever.
That's great. It's awesome that you finally got it. I wanted to ask you, I think I texted you this, but got lost in what was the very first DVD or like movie you put on?
So my wife and I watched until she fell asleep, which she typically does, Inherent Vice, the PTA movie, which I love. And what I realized only later was we put on the DVD of it. Like it's one of those Blu-rays that comes with the DVD and the Blu-ray. And I thought I was putting in like the actual thing, but I was like, this is great. I love it. It is. It's just cool to see. On a big screen in a bigger screen than I'm used to in a dark room, but like I was like I don't feel blown away, and then I realized it was a DVD, so I don't know. We haven't watched the Blu-ray. Plus, she fell asleep halfway in, but then I put on The Lighthouse when it was just me.
Okay. That's an underrated PTA movie.
I think it's awesome.
It's sort of criminally like panned.
Even I don't think it was panned. I think
no, for a PTA
it.
movie, it's like at the bottom of the PTA lists that people.
To
be fair, I don't know what I would put it. Like I don't know what I would put at the bottom.
I mean, I would put most of them way below. I love it. It's like Boogie Nights and what's it called? There Will Be Blood are the only ones I think are definitely better. Anything else, I think it stands up.
Licorice Pizza is
I love Licorice Pizza though, but it's as good as Licorice Pizza.
Yeah. All right. Good year.
And now we're going to talk about one of the best things that we read this year.
So good.
We'll be right back to talk about Borges, the Aleph.
This episode of Very Bad Wizards is brought to you once again by GiveWell. There are over 1.5 million nonprofit organizations in the United States and millions more around the world. When it comes time to decide who to donate your money to, how do you know which ones could make the biggest impact with that donation? Well, GiveWell was founded to help donors answer just that question. They pore over independent studies and charity data to help donors direct their funds to evidence-backed organizations that are saving and improving lives. GiveWell has done this for over 15 years. They've researched charitable organizations, and they only direct their funding to a few of the highest impact opportunities they've found in global health and poverty alleviation. Over 100,000 donors have used GiveWell to donate more than $1 billion. Rigorous evidence suggests that these donations will save over 150,000 lives and improve the lives of millions more. GiveWell wants as many donors as possible to make informed decisions about high-impact giving, so you can find all of their nerdy spreadsheet research and recommendations on their site for free. Yep, they are that kind of organization. They want you to, even if you don't use them, they want you to have that research available to you for free. You don't even have to sign up. You can make tax-deductible donations to their recommended funds or charities, and GiveWell won't even take a cut. So if you've never donated through GiveWell before, you can have your donation matched up to $100 before the end of the year, or as long as matching funds last. To claim your match, go to givewell.org and pick podcast and enter Very Bad Wizards at checkout. Make sure they know that you heard about GiveWell from Very Bad Wizards to get your donation match. Again, that's givewell.org to donate or just to find out more. Our thanks to GiveWell for sponsoring this episode of Very Bad Wizards.
Welcome back to Very Bad Wizards. This is the time where we love to thank all of the people who get in touch with us, who interact with us. If you want to email us, you can email us at verybadwizards@gmail.com. Tweet at us at Peas, at Tamler, or at Very Bad Wizards. You can follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, join the Reddit community where they have lively discussions of every episode, plus a lot of other things, and subscribe to us on Spotify. And if you could, rate us on Apple Podcasts. Those 5-star reviews are huge for connecting us with listeners who don't know about the show but might like it. This is the end of the year. I always get a little sentimental at the end of the year, and I just want to thank all the people who reach out because it's awesome. We can't believe it that you want to spend the time not just listening, but also engaging. Thank you. If you'd like to support us in even more tangible ways, they are all available on the support page on our website, verybadwizards.com. Give us a one-time or recurring donation on PayPal. You can do that, buy some swag, and of course, become one of our beloved Patreon supporters. And we have a bunch of different tiers. $1 and up, you get ad-free episodes and also all 7 volumes of David's Beats. $2 and up per episode, you get access to our whole archive, 7 to 8 years, 9 years, I don't know, of bonus episodes on movies, shows. We did one on Ghosts, a couple on Star Trek that David did, and I think I even joined one of them. And of course, the Ambulators, where David and I break down every episode of Deadwood, every episode of the first 2 seasons of Deadwood. That's what we've completed. And look, it honestly embarrasses me to say this. It's clearly the best work that we've ever done, the best audio work that David and I have ever done. Some people are calling it the best thing that mankind has ever produced. And honestly, I'm humbled by that. I find it embarrassing, but I'm deeply humbled that people think that the Ambulators is the best that human beings have to offer, pre-AI, the AI takeover. We are about to start season 3. We're gearing up for it, and we've got a little more time, I think, this upcoming semester. So stay tuned for season 3. I'm sure we'll get the first one out in January. Also, an Overton Windows, which we have recorded, but I still haven't edited. I remember it being kind of a beast, but that will come out within the next few weeks. So that's at $2 and up per episode. At $5 and up, you get access to maybe the second best thing that, again, people are saying, I would never say this, people are saying the second best thing that human beings have offered the world are Brothers Karamazov, 5-episode series. Finally, at $10 and up per episode, you get to ask us a question in our monthly Ask Us Anything episodes. You can ask us a question, and then everybody at our bonus tier gets to hear the episode. And at the $10 level, you can also, if you would want this, and I don't know why you would, you can also see a video of us answering these questions. There's a lot going on, but really this is all our way of trying to thank our listeners who support us. And from the bottom of my heart, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for all of your support.
Okay, now we're going to talk about Jorge Luis Borges' short story, The Aleph, which is a story that we just sort of put off doing. I think you at first weren't into it for some reason.
No clue why. As soon as I reread it, because you suggested it again, I was like, this story is awesome. Every part of it.
It's awesome. Yeah. It is I think a quintessential, it's a classic. I think it's probably one of his most beloved stories. It was originally published in 1945 in a journal, and then published in a collection of his stories named Aleph in 1949. And I think that we just are going to walk through everything because everything really is connected to the plot and the details, but it hits on so many different themes that we've hit on in various Borges stories, themes about infinity and paradoxes and labyrinths, revenge and mysticism, which is, of course, one of my favorite.
And the inability of language to describe things that are outside of language. Also memory and the problems with memory.
And time, the passage of time.
I also love his stories where he's a character.
I know.
And it's just a kind of I don't know, self-satirical version of him. And then I just love his description of his interactions with Carlos Argentinos. There's so much to love in this. Like, you could not get into the thought experiment-y, metaphysical philosophy of language part of it and still just fully enjoy this story. What the philosophical questions that underlie the kind of satire of a certain kind of literary pretension just all are part of the same issue. And like, that's what's so brilliant, and why he's the best. He's the best at writing this kind of story.
God, I just want to as you pointed out on a text to me, like, this is just one of his funniest stories. Like, the satire is just, I was actually laughing as I was reading it.
The one that it reminded me of his is the Quixote one, satirizing a certain kind of literary pretension, a voice. Like, I associate that with Nabokov, like Somerset Maugham, like Tolstoy can do this. It's just so funny. I have a few passages that I want to read
for sure. And I also just love, like you were saying, when he inserts himself, like he is some version of him as the narrator. And I feel like he's self-critical, like he uses this to sort of criticize himself a little bit.
Absolutely.
So this is something that I don't know how it will come up in the discussing the story. I couldn't help but think, I couldn't find anything about this, but the character that he is interacting with, as you say, Carlos Argentino, I couldn't help but think that he chose the last name Argentino in this just like on the nose way of criticizing Argentinian intellectuals of the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I was
it had
wondering
to
that.
be I know I couldn't find anything on it, but it has to be that.
Last general thing I want to say, it's actually kind of a beautiful, poignant love, lost love story too, which you don't get that often from a Borges story.
Right. Yeah. His stories are so lacking in sex or love, like any sort.
Interactions with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Not a lot of women.
No.
Doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
Definitely.
Not in this one either.
Not in this one either. So, all right. It starts off, so it's first person narration, with Borges telling us about the morning that this woman, Beatriz Viterbo, had died. And we come to find out that it's somebody that he clearly was in love with.
Yeah.
He was devoted to her. And he says, I knew that more than once my futile devotion had exasperated her. So it seemed like unrequited, kind of in a heartbreaking way. And we learned that since her death in, I think, 1929 or something, he every year on her birthday shows up to her house. He sort of says that every year he'll stay a little longer and get there a little later. He sort of gets himself invited to dinner, and then every year he has dinner with the first cousin, Carlos Argentino, who lives in the house that Beatrice once lived in.
You get from the very beginning that he's not doing it to hang out with Carlos Argentino.
No.
In fact, that's a price for paying homage to the memory of this person who he already feels like is fading away. There's a line early on. I noticed a new advertisement for some cigarettes or other blondes, I believe there were. The fact deeply grieved me, for I realized that the vast, unceasing universe was already growing away from her, and this change was but the first in an infinite series. The universe may change, but I shall not, thought I, with melancholy vanity. That's like already kind of stating the themes and like a central issue in the story right there. The universe is moving away from this person that was so special to Borges's heart, and there's nothing he can do about it. It's just going to keep eroding like that.
Yeah. And I've had this thought actually about when people die, that the world moves on, and it does move on so fast. And I often think about how people who I loved who are dead, like, just didn't see like this or that happen. The world is, as Jesus Christ said, the world is for the living. You just can't hold on, no matter how hard you try. The memory will fade, and the universe moves on. And there's something so sad about that. Borges says later on, something that I'm going to quote now, After 40, every change becomes a hateful symbol of time's passing. It's so good.
Oh my God. I wrote that down on an index card.
It's so true. So okay, he's showing up every year on April 30th. And you do get the sense, this was a time when pictures were rare, but like obviously this was a family of means. And so he goes and he just like stares at the various portraits on the wall. And here's where we learn just some basic facts about her life, that she was married and then divorced. And you get the sense that like he's just been pining for her love this whole time. And so it must hurt him to have seen her get married. And then he had some hope when she got divorced, and then like it never panned out, and then she died. He describes Beatrice as tall, fragile, very slightly stooped.
In her walk, there was, if I may be pardoned the oxymoron, something of a graceful clumsiness, a soupçon of hesitancy or of palsy. Like, that line is like the kind of line that he's going to go on to make fun of Carlos Argentino's for saying. And like, this is part of the self-satire, I think, is that even though he clearly feels this connection and like he wants to describe this kind of ineffable way that she walked, he has to do it in this kind of pretentious, labored way. That will be his exact kind of criticism of Carlos Argentino, but he's already doing it right away.
Right. It's also funny that he says he asks forgiveness for the oxymoron in her description. And then he describes Carlos as holding a position in an illegible library. And then an authoritarian who's ineffectual. And then he says that nights and holidays he stayed at home. Like all sort of contradictory. Like
I like that he is authoritarian, though also ineffectual. I also like, I feel like that's kind of an oxymoron, but also not. Like, I feel like I know people who are that.
It's totally true.
They're authoritarian in spirit, but they just don't have it in them to actually
get shit
enforce anything.
Yeah. The first thing that we hear him say is when he takes him some brandy, some cognac. He tastes it and he says, "Interesting." And then he goes on to describe, he says he launched into an apologia for modern man. I picture him, he said, with an animation that was rather unaccountable, in his study as though in the watchtower of a great city surrounded by telephones, telegraphs, phonographs, the latest in-radio telephone and motion picture and magic lantern equipment and glossaries and calendars and timetables and bulletins. He observed that for a man so equipped, the act of traveling was supererogatory. This 20th century of ours had upended the fable of Muhammad and the mountain. Mountains nowadays did in fact come to the modern Muhammad.
What's funny is that it's like one of the most pretentious things to
so insufferable
to possibly conceive of, but it's also kind of true for him.
I know.
Like, this is a running theme with like his ridiculous pomposity is that like actually it's like, yes, in this case the mountain did come to Muhammad. It came to his basement, you know, like
right.
And so and like
a
lot of this
he's
stuff,
talking about modernity, which is also true.
So he tells him that he's writing this poem called The Earth, which is a description of our own terraqueous orb, and was graced, of course, with the picturesque digression and elegant apostrophe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
apostrophe.
Well, I think it's apostrophe the way he means it in poetry, but I am not sure about that. So I you can make fun of me on Twitter or whatever.
No, I'm the one who needs to be made fun of now. I just read it as apostrophe. You're the English major.
What would it mean, apostrophe, like in the context of that sentence?
I have zero idea, but that's also true of a lot of the things that are said in this.
It's true. In Greek tragedies, this is the only reason I know it, is that like you'll sometimes see apostrophe or apostrophe. The first passage of the poem that he reads is, "I have seen, as did the Greek, man's cities and his fame, the works, the days of various light, the hunger. I prettify no fact, I falsify no name, for the voyage I narrate is autour de ma chambre." So you think this is the most insufferably pretentious, but as you read the rest of the story and as you come to understand like what prompted this, it's also true. And the voyage is like outside his room. right? Like it's just true. He's just finding the language that he's using to describe it.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
it's already a signal that we're not going to be able to describe what this is with any real accuracy. And we can do it in stylish ways or not stylish ways, but we're already fucked from the get-go.
Yeah. And, upon reflection, it is a bit of an unreliable narrator again, too, because everything that's described about this guy sounds so pompous. So he goes on. So those 4 lines that he gives him from his poem, he goes on to like a long paragraph sort of describing how awesome each line is because of what the meaning.
The stanza that I read.
The stanza that you read. Yeah. He says, a stanza interesting from every point of view.
Which point, again, like a lot of this story, like every point of view is kind of interesting because that's what we're going to get with the Aleph.
Right. Yeah. So, he gives, I won't read the whole paragraph.
No, read the whole thing. It's so funny.
Okay. A stanza interesting from every point of view, he said. The first line wins the kudos of the learned, the academician, the Hellenist, though perhaps not that of those would-be scholars that make up such a substantial portion of popular opinion. The second moves from Homer to Hesiod. Is that how you say it? Hesiod. Implicit homage at the very threshold of the dazzling new edifice to the father of didactic poetry, not without revitalizing a technique whose lineage may be traced to scripture, that is, enumeration, conjuries, or conglobation. The third, baroque, decadent, the purified and fanatical cult of form, consists of twinned hemistichs. The fourth, unabashedly bilingual.
Voyage and Autour de Machamp. Unabashedly bilingual. It's just so awesome.
Assures me the unconditional support of every spirit able to feel the ample attractions of playfulness. I shall say nothing of the unusual rhyme, nor of the erudition that allows me, without pedantry or boorishness, to include within the space of 4 lines 3 erudite allusions spanning 30 centuries of dense literature, from first the Odyssey, second the Works and Days, and third that immortal bagatelle that regales us with the diversions of the Savoyard's plume. Once again, I show my awareness that truly modern art demands the balm of laughter, of scherzo. There is no doubt about it. Goldoni was right.
That's just
so
as good a comic. There's no doubt. I love the way it ends too. There's no doubt about it. Goldoni was right. It's so perfect. I don't know who Goldoni. Like I don't get the reference.
I have no idea who that is either. The line that he says is such a great line. He says, "I realized that the poet's work had lain not in the poetry, but in the invention of reasons for accounting the poetry admirable."
Yep. I think that's a key line in this.
Yeah,
like without even fully understanding why, I feel like that the poet's work had laid not in the poetry, but in the invention of reasons for accounting the poetry admirable. That's the thing that like is going to be the problem with the Aleph too. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Like, I do think a lot of these lines that are also satirical and just really funny, like this is what I think is incredible about the story, just connect to the philosophical themes and questions that are animating it. This is the thing. He's going to also have, he's going to realize the impossibility of trying to describe what he saw, and he'll do it in a different way. He will try to do it.
Very different way. Which I really want to talk about when we get there. And just to be clear, Carlos Argentino's task that he's set for himself is literally to describe the entire world in poetry. He proposed to versify, this is Borges says, he proposed to versify the entire planet. By 1941, he had already dispatched several hectares of the state of Queensland, more than a kilometer of the course of the Ob, a gasworks north of Veracruz, the leading commercial establishments in the parish of Concepcion, Mariana Cambaceres de Alvead's villa on Calle 11 de Septiembre in Belgrano, and a Turkish bath not far from the famed Brighton Aquarium. And this is a theme in Borges too. People who are trying somehow to catalog the entirety of reality. It kind of comes up in Funes, where Funes is remembering every detail, so he can't abstract things into generalities, but like he remembers, the dog facing front at 3:15 is different than the dog facing sideways, like different things. So his task is completely a different level of infinity. But this is also a task that is a fool's task that nobody in their right mind would think could be done, but he sets about doing it himself. Pierre Menard is kind of like that too, like the attempt to recreate perfectly the entirety of the Quixote. Like,
yeah, or like Library of Babel, those people who are aiming to find the true book, the book that explains the Library of Babel. It's like you're trying to figure out something that in principle can't be done because of the nature of the thing that you're looking for or trying to do.
Yeah, it's such that vibe that there are things that humans set about trying to do that are so futile that he's using these like ridiculous tasks that make like counting the sands, the grains of sand on a beach seem like a reasonable thing to do. And it just seems like he's saying something deep about the follies of the things that we endeavor to do in our lives. So that's his task, to describe the entirety of the earth in poetic stanzas. Hear this: to the right hand of the routine signpost, coming, what need is there to say, from north-northwest, yawns a bored skeleton. Color? Sky pearly. Outside the sheepfold that suggests an ossuary. So he's just literally describing random spots on the globe as if he had like Google.
Queensland.
2 audacious risks, he exclaimed in exultation. Snatched from the jaws of disaster, I can hear you mutter, by success. I admit it. One, the epithet.
He admits that it was a success.
He's like putting the words into his mouth. Yeah. 1, the epithet routine, while making an adjective of a synonym for highway, nods en passant to the inevitable tedium inherent to those chores of a pastoral and rustic nature that neither Georgics nor our own belaureled Don Segundo ever dared acknowledge in such a forthright way, with no beating about the bush. And the second, delicately referring to the first, the forcefully prosaic phrase, yawns a bored skeleton, which the finicky will want to excommunicate without benefit of clergy, but that the critic of more manly tastes will embrace, as he does, his very life.
The thing where he's already like shitting on his critics, like his imaginary critics, because he's not published anything, is very funny. And the idea, and his more manly critics. This reminds me so much of Pale Fire. I remember this with the Quixote story. This reminds me so much of Nabokov's Pale Fire. It's that same voice who...
Like preempting the critic.
Preempting the critic, exactly. And already kind of coming up with reasons why their dismissal of his work is...
I'll say, Tamler, I know that some listeners will think our Borges episodes are too rambly, but the more manly of our listeners will appreciate
the listeners of more manly tastes.
Yeah. And then he gets a phone call a couple weeks later from Carlos Argentino, inviting him to go try out a new cafe that his landlords or businessmen have opened up. And so he goes. In this discussion, he realizes that what the reason for the invitation might be that he's asking Borges, who is, again, Borges in this story, so he's a writer. He's asking Borges maybe to be the one to write a prologue.
He says, it was at this point that I understood the unprecedented telephone call in the invitation. The man was about to ask me to write the preface to a pedantic farrago of his. But my fear turned out to be unfounded. Carlos Argentino remarked with grudging admiration that he believed he did not go too far in saying that the prestige achieved in every sphere by the man of letters Alvaro Melian Lafinor was solid, and that if I could be persuaded to persuade him, Alvaro might be enchanted to write the called for forward. So first he shits on the forward, then Borges is thinking, oh, fuck me, he's going to ask me to write the foreword or the preface. And then no, like he just wants him to be like a go-between. That's just very funny. I can relate to that. I've been that person who has thought, oh my God, they're going to ask me to do something because they think it'll like further their career, but they're not doing that at all. They're just asking me to use some connection I have.
They're like, can I get Sam Harris's email?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell Laurie Santos I want to invite her to Davos?
I just need 20 minutes with her at Davos. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Man, it's the end of the year, holiday season. I'm just getting over Thanksgiving. It was great, but let's just say that there are certain issues that me and my family feel strongly about right now that we don't see eye to eye on. And now we're coming up to Christmas. We're in Hanukkah right now, and it's just natural to feel sadness or anxiety about this. But adding something new, adding something positive to your life can help to counteract some of those feelings or even help to understand those feelings. Therapy can be a bright spot amid all of the stress and change, something to look forward to, something to make you feel grounded and to give you the tools to manage everything that's going on. I know so many people who have benefited from therapy, whether it's learning positive coping skills, developing better habits, how to set boundaries. Therapy can empower you to be the best version of yourself, or at least a much better version of yourself. I could be a better version of myself. Who among us couldn't use to be a better version of themselves? So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire and get matched with a licensed therapist. You can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So find your bright spot this season with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/VBW to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/VBW. Thanks to BetterHelp, as always, for sponsoring this episode.
So then Borges does this thing that I could totally relate to, where he's like, fuck, now I gotta like ask this guy that he asked me to get to do the forward. And he's like, I had two options. One was to like find this way of telling this guy, like this guy wrote a shitty poem and he's asking me to like ask you to do the forward, or I could just never bring it up to him at all. And he's like, I knew that I was going to do that latter one, which is totally what I would do. Just ignore it.
Look, I have this literally written. I don't know if you can see it, but I have like Pizarro written on that, like right under that line.
It's so true.
I knew that you would read that and feel like, oh, that's me. I'm exposed.
I totally passive aggressively will just like not
just avoid
respond.
it. Just not do it.
It's so funny.
Later, Borges, again, this is very funny, very self-satirical. I can relate to this too. Like every time the phone rings, he thinks, oh shit, he's going to be mad at me, asking me about whether I talked to the other poet. And meanwhile, that never happens. Then he does call, though. And those same landlords who opened that good cafe, that great cafe that he was praising, they now want to demolish the house. And here's where that line that you quoted earlier, after 40, every change becomes a hateful symbol of time's passing. But yeah, like they're going to demolish the house. He says after that, in addition, this was the house that I saw as alluding infinitely to Beatrice. And obviously that's a kind of meaningful line. And here's where we first find out about the Aleph. He says the Aleph is in my basement and I need it to finish my poem, and they can't take that away from me. The place where, without admixture or confusion, all the places of the world seen from every angle coexist. I revealed my discovery when he was a child to no one, but I did return. The child could not understand that he was given that privilege so that the man might carve out a poem. And so now we know the origin story of this poem. He has a lawyer named Zuni. Zunino and Zungri shall never take it from me. Never, never. Law book in hand, Zuni will prove that my Aleph is inalienable.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's important, but I don't totally get why. But law book in hand, Zuni will prove that my Aleph is inalienable.
One of the things I was thinking was like these landlords, Zunino and Zungri, it's so weird that they both have Z names. And I thought, well, it is maybe on purpose. Aleph is the first letter of the alphabet. I don't know what Zuni, the lawyer, like why there's a third Z.
It's just all Z's that are involved in this. All
I love at this point. By the way, this is the point. I remember, this is the point where you're reading this and you're like, what the fuck? Like there's this guy thinks that there is a point in his basement that contains all of the world.
Yeah, it was a comedy of manners and a satire of the literary culture of Argentina in the late 30s or early 40s, and then all of a sudden, wait, what's going on? It's a Borges story.
It's a Borges story. And Borges, the character, has this. All of a sudden, shit falls into place for him. He's like, oh fuck. This guy's actually crazy. Yeah. And he's like, it makes sense now.
Which is interesting that's his first thought.
Totally.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's kind of interesting given what comes later. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he says, maybe all of the Viterbos, which is the family name, including Beatrice, might have been crazy. So he says, even though she was a woman, a girl of implacable clear-sightedness, but there were things about her, oversights, distractions, moments of contempt, downright cruelty, that perhaps could have done with a pathological explanation. So maybe there's madness running in the family. This is Carlos Argentino's madness.
But I think that's also, he's saying that to explain the fact that she never loved him like he loved her.
Yeah, you know? He is justifying. Yeah, it's given him an explanation.
He doesn't buy it. I don't even think he buys it as he's saying it. Right before he says that, for all he thinks of him being crazy, he goes right over.
I love it. He says, I'll be there, and hangs up. So before the guy can like stop him from going, he says like, I'm gonna go. And he's getting some sort of pleasure in the thought that this guy's batshit,
and that Beatrice is bad shit, which, is a very ugly kind of thing to think at that point, I think, for this character.
Carlos Argentino's madness filled me with malign happiness. Deep down, we had always detested one another.
That's your Don Draper line, I think. Like, I don't think that Carlos Argentino, I don't think he detested Borges. Like, there's no evidence of that in the story.
I feel bad for you. I don't think about you at all.
Yeah, it's an interesting. Borges, the character, is telling on himself as a petty person.
He seems small in this story.
So he runs over to the house, and of course he is observing all of the portraits, the pictures of her.
He says, beside the flowerless vase atop the useless piano smiled the great faded photograph of Beatrice, not so much anachronistic as outside time. No one could see us. In a desperation of tenderness, I approached the portrait. And then what you said, and it's like, that's, it's a faded photograph. It's a useless piano. It's like all this stuff is just receding from him, and he's grasping at it, and he can't keep it,
Yeah. What is pseudo cognac?
I
don't
have any
idea.
Yeah.
It's like near beer, but for cognac.
Is it like non-alcoholic cognac?
I have no idea. Yeah. But yeah, so when Carlos comes in, he says, let's have a glass of pseudo cognac, and I'll take you down to the basement and show you the Aleph. You got to lie on the floor in this particular way. You got to stare at the 19th step of the stairway that you just went down. And I'll like go back up, and I'll shut the door like for the darkness. And within a few minutes, you'll see the Aleph, the microcosm of the alchemists and Kabbalists, our proverbial friend, the multum in parvo made flesh.
Much and little.
Yeah.
Also, just to set the scene, like he's going down into a basement, which has one of those staircases that just kind of pop up, and he's going to pull it up.
That's right.
It's like a fucking horror movie. And that's his first thought. That like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. Like he's putting me in this basement.
An Edgar Allan Poe story right there.
Yeah.
Totally. It's like the Cask of Amontillado. Like this guy has hated me. And like, this is exactly how he's going to off me.
But then he sees it.
And he says, I come now to the ineffable center of my tale. It is here that a writer's hopelessness begins. Every language is an alphabet of symbols, the employment of which assumes a past shared by its interlocutors. How can one transmit to others the infinite Aleph, which my timorous memory can scarcely contain? In a similar situation, mystics have employed a wealth of emblems to signify the deity. A Persian mystic speaks of a bird that somehow is all birds. Alain Delille speaks of a sphere whose center is everywhere and circumference nowhere. Ezekiel of an angel with 4 faces, facing east and west, north and south, at once. It is not for nothing that I call to mind these inconceivable analogies. They bear a relation to the Aleph.
Already there is this thing that contains the infinite all at once.
Yeah,
And
simultaneous. Yeah.
Simultaneous. That's obviously crucial here. And mystics have been trying to describe it with symbols, but they all are lacking in some respect, because this is something that symbols can only point to. This is the fundamental problem of any kind of mystical or transcendent tradition of inquiry is, okay, you get it. What are you supposed to do? Yeah. And not only in terms of describing it to other people, but in terms of even trying to understand it yourself.
And besides, the central problem, the enumeration, even partial enumeration of infinity, is irresolvable. I saw millions, in that unbounded moment, I saw millions of delightful and horrible acts. None amazed me so much as the fact that all occupied the same point without superposition and without transparency. Somehow his senses are allowing the influx of all of that to come in, and he is grasping it in the moment. And then he has to set himself to trying his best to describe what he saw. He says, something of it I will capture.
Because language is successive and what he saw was not. You're already fucked. So he's already giving all the limits of, with the mystical traditions and the symbols and the fact that you have language having the feature of being successive, whereas what he saw was simultaneous. This is a fool's errand. This is quixotic.
Yeah.
But
I love this description that he gives, because he's and this is the juxtaposition that you have with this guy who is trying to use language, Carlos Argentino, who's trying to use the language to systematically describe everything he sees in this poetic stanzas that are going to be thousands of stanzas to lay everything out. And Borges is trying to just give us a flavor, some vague sense of the phenomenology. And he does it just by describing the Aleph, what it looked like, and then a whole bunch of random scenes that came simultaneously into his senses. He says, under the step, I saw a small iridescent sphere of almost unbearable brightness. At first, I thought it was spinning. Then I realized that the movement was an illusion produced by the dizzying spectacles inside it.
He saw a woman in Inverness whom I shall never forget, saw her violent hair, her haughty body, saw a cancer in her breast, saw a circle of dry soil within a sidewalk where there had once been a tree, saw a country home in Droge. Yeah, saw all the ants on the earth. So it's all, what he's seeing is the earth right now, right? He doesn't see things from the past or the future. He just sees everything at once right now.
Yeah.
Here.
He saw a tarot card in a shop window in Mirzapur, which reminded me of Blood Meridian.
He also sees detailed letters, because I guess these letters still exist, that Beatrice had sent. He said obscene, incredible detailed letters that Beatrice had sent Carlos Argentino. Were they? Is that
totally.
how you?
Yes, they were first cousins, but he's bearing the lead here. This is clearly one of the most important things to him, and he just lists it among all of the other innumerable things. But Beatrice was having some sort of nasty affair with
not even step cousin, just not even, actual cousin.
Not even actual.
It's all just one sentence, we should say, too, which is another feature of what he's trying to do, how he's trying to do it, how he's trying to capture the simultaneity of it is by making it one long sentence in a page of dense text. But peeking out of the randomness is certain things like that that kind of explain his particular focus. And that's what's the paradox of this Aleph is that you see everything, and nothing has more importance than anything else that you see. But when you write about it, it's hard not to import your own cares and values and attitudes and desires on what it is that you've seen. Like, he could have chosen anything, and he chose those letters and her rotting remains after the letters.
Yeah, he says, a beloved monument in Chacarita, which is a cemetery in Buenos Aires, saw the horrendous remains of what had once deliciously been Beatriz Viterbo. Totally.
Process that until now. Just, that's why he hates Carlos Argentino.
Yeah. It's the view from nowhere, truly the view from nowhere. It's standing on an external plane of existence and seeing everything that's happening on Earth simultaneously. But just like it reminds me of our discussion of the veil of ignorance, where you can't actually process all of that stuff without imputing something of your own mind onto it. So
but there's two questions. Can you process it? And if you do process it, can you describe what it is that you processed? And I think this is definitely saying no to the second question. Not sure what it says about the first question.
It does. Yeah, it does seem, you're right. Like, and that's like would be the difference between perception and memory, I guess. And it may be the case that it really does seem that his description is that, like, he processed it all. And he says, I had a sense of infinite veneration, infinite pity. He had truly looked upon the inconceivable universe. But then once you start the process of memory.
So I think those are two separate things, but I think they're connected in the sense that once you're not experiencing it anymore, you might just be in the same kind of condition as if you tried to explain it to somebody else, trying to even remember it and make sense of it to yourself.
It's like a dream that fades so quickly when you wake up and you're trying to hold on to it.
You're trying to grasp it. Yes.
Yeah. You could just feel it leaving you as you're trying.
In this case, he's ambivalent about whether he wants it to leave or not, because he says, I feared there was nothing that had the power to surprise or astonish me anymore. I feared that I would never again be without a sense of déjà vu. Fortunately, after a few unsleeping nights, forgetfulness began to work in me again. So he's got the reverse curse of Funes, but it's actually a blessing in this case. It allows him to not be in this kind of middle state of knowing that you experience something transcendent, but not being able to let that go. But then forgetfulness and it's over. Yeah.
And it wouldn't hurt to forget the letters that he saw either.
Yeah.
That's
right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
This episode of Very Bad Wizards is brought to you once again by listening.com. Listening is an app that turns academic papers, textbooks, websites, emails, PDFs, anything, turns it into audio so that you can listen to it on the go as if you were listening to an audiobook. So rather than be stuck statically at a desk or on a couch reading some of these papers that maybe you need to do for academics, for your work, or just for your interest, you can actually be on the go. It has a bunch of really cool features. One of the things that it's amazing at is that it actually can read math equations. It's intelligent enough to know to skip citations and footnotes. It can pronounce all kinds of academic technical words. It also has this cool note-taking button so that if you just press this button, it'll actually automatically copy the sentence that you're listening to and put it into a notepad. It can automatically detect sections of a paper and so break it up into chapters like we do on the podcast. It'll even put data into tables so that you can visually look at them within the app. So if you're at all like me, somebody who not only just as an academic, somebody who has to make a living reading papers, but also somebody for this podcast. I'm often reading articles, PDFs on the web. if you're at all like me, this will be very handy. In fact, I'm traveling tomorrow, and I will be able to, on my plane flight and on my car ride to the airport, I'll be able to listen to some of the things that I really need to get out of the way and listen to without having to worry about, actually, in my case, getting motion sick. So if this sounds at all like something that you might use, you probably know if you're somebody who would use this. If you go to listening.com/VBW, you will get 3 weeks for free. That's an extra free week on top of what people normally get. So again, go to listening.com/VBW if you want to give listening.com a try. Our thanks to listening.com for sponsoring this episode of Very Bad Wizards. He's clearly put Beatrice up on a pedestal that she probably didn't deserve, but he wants to hold on to that.
He wants to hold on to it. Yeah. Yeah. This is about grasping. This is about trying to hold on to things that can't be held on to, like as much as it is about the thought experiment of what it would mean to perceive everything.
Everywhere, all at once.
Yes. I tried not to say it, but. Yeah.
So when he comes out of it, Carlos immediately says, haha, see, like, serves you right having your mind boggled for sticking your nose in where you weren't wanted, said a jovial, bored voice. And you may rack your brains, but you'll never repay me for this revelation, not in 100 years. What a magnificent observatory, eh, Borges? And Carlos is like, you did see it, right? You saw it clearly in color and everything. And this is the moment where he conceives of his revenge. He decides that he's not going to admit that he saw it, that he's going to make Carlos think that he's actually crazy. And so he just doesn't mention it at all. And he says,
get out to the country air.
Yeah, maybe it would be like fine if this house gets destroyed and you move out to the country. Like get some fresh country air. That's good medicine for you. And that's when he walks out. After that, he just walks out on the street and he sees all faces looked familiar to him. That's the end. That's his revenge. He's
just going to make him. He's going to gaslight him.
Gaslight him, exactly.
Yeah.
But
and it's such a mean, petty thing to do. He really doesn't come off that well,
especially when it's something that fucking mind blowing.
Yeah,
you've just seen the entire universe. This guy showed it to you, and your immediate thought is like, "Hey, I'm going to get him." Like,
it's an unreliable narrator is a good way of describing it, because you're kind of on his side as this guy is the bombastic praise of his own poetry. It's like you can't imagine how horrifying that would be to be subjected to it. But then you like the more you really read the story, you realize like it's Borges that is the asshole here. He's the petty small person who unfortunately found out that somebody had sex with the woman that he loved and that he couldn't have, at least not fully.
Right. And so we find out 6 months after the demolition of the building that they published his substantial poem. And he says, it goes without saying what happened. Carlos Argentino won second place in the National Prize for Literature. The first prize went to Dr. Aita, third to Dr. Mario Bonfanti. Incredibly, my own work, The Sharper's Cards, did not earn a single vote.
Which is something that Carlos Argentino would have said.
Would have said, exactly. Yeah. Borges then says there are two observations that he wants to add with the regard of the nature of the Aleph. He says, in the Kabbalah, that letter Aleph signifies Ein Sof, the pure and unlimited Godhead. So it's supposed to represent God. And the shape of that Hebrew letter is supposed to represent a man pointing to the sky and to the earth, which is like an alchemical symbol of like as above, so below, macrocosm. And he asks whether or not Carlos Argentino actually chose that name or he had read it in one of the innumerable texts revealed to him by the Aleph in his house. And then he goes on to say, and this is a part that I'm just not sure about. He then goes on to argue that he thinks that this was actually a false Aleph, that this was one of many. And the reasons that he gives is just like that in some Captain Burton book where he describes a bunch of these supposedly false Alephs that were like mirrors into the universe, but weren't actually, that there's only one true one. And that's lies inside the pillars of stone in some temple
And you can only hear it. You can't see it.
You can only hear it. You can never see it, which is hilarious. In Cairo.
I have some thoughts about why he does that.
So do you think it's just like defensiveness?
Yes.
Yeah. You think he's crafted it. He was like looking for something to like believe that this guy didn't have access to like the true Aleph.
Yeah, right. You know, like I don't fully process the stuff about Beatrice and Carlos. So I was thinking of it more that he's trying to process the fact that he saw the Aleph and can't describe it properly.
Yeah,
and
right.
So he doesn't want to think that he had this transcendent experience that he can't describe and can't even remember properly. And it's just faded into nothing like Beatrice. And so he's going to say it's a false Aleph. Like maybe he's going to say Beatrice was a false, like she was pathological. Like I think that's like, oh, she was just, that's why she didn't like me. She's pathological.
Yeah.
But so sort of like that in the sense, and like I think the story does such a good job about having at the macro level this deep question of how like language, can it capture the transcendent? No. Can it capture the infinite and the simultaneous? No. But like, what do we do with that? What do we do with the fact that we can have these experiences and then not be able to even remember it, or unless we're having it, it just fades away. And like we just plug words in a kind of pitiful way. And Carlos Argentino does it in his way. Borges does it in his way. That's better, but it's still just not up to the task of it, you know? And I think it's like, it's not just the Aleph, the Kabbalah, like this mystical object. It doesn't just apply to those things, or maybe like experiences in meditation that you might have, but then they're gone and you don't even like, and then they fade and it's like, did it even happen? You know, like, but it's not just that. I also think it's like he's feeling this about Beatrice and his feelings for her. And every time he tries to describe her, you know, he starts getting a little pretentious or he starts getting a little resentful. And so first he starts getting a little pretentious, the whole thing about the soupçon of whatever, of palsy. And then he gets very tender and he just, and then he tries to dismiss it. That's what I think the false Aleph is like he is also unable to not just describe what he loved about Beatrice, but also he's losing the ability to even remember it. And so he lashes out at that inability. These moments in our lives that are deeply meaningful, but every time we try to like describe them, they get debased, but even remember them, they start getting debased. And there's just certain things that are like that. Some things get richer when you try to describe them, but some things get debased. And memory is just like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And it reminds me, I didn't read the very last paragraph, which I think is pretty crucial. It says, when he describes that the real Aleph that might be within those stone pillars in Cairo, he says, does that Aleph exist within the heart of a stone? Did I see it when I saw all things and then forget it? Our minds are permeable to forgetfulness. I myself am distorting and losing through the tragic erosion of the years, the features of Beatrice.
Exactly. That's the thing that kind of made me think of what I just said. And it also kind of exposes the fact that if that Aleph existed, he would have seen it, but maybe he could have forgotten it. But
and it's very hard to know, like, was he supposed to have like not only seen everything but actually seen everything, you know? Like it's
right.
It's like you see a crowd, you look in a crowd of people and you're in some sense seeing everybody, but you don't see everybody. But like it really does seem like this truly mystical experience was that he actually observed every single thing and that entered his mind. So he thinks he should have seen that other Aleph in there, you know.
But I guess if it was a false Aleph, he might not have.
That's the other thing, which is like, why would you think that you could see it if there was a true Aleph out there and this was a false Aleph? How could the false Aleph show you where the true one is? It's a little paradoxical.
Exactly.
Right. There was something that was too juicy for me, like getting lost in reading about the Kabbalah. So the 19th staircase, I was like, I wonder why the 19th. The number 19 is of significance, apparently, from what I read in the Kabbalah, because you know how like every letter has a numerical value in the Hebrew alphabet. Apparently, the word for God, Yahweh, just the YHWH, has the numerical value of 26. But when you put in the vowels, so the unwritten things, but the sounds that you require in order to pronounce them, those vowels have the value of 19. And they say that like in order to actually say the word God, you require those unwritten sounds. And those sounds are even more valuable than the written ones, like the ones that come out of your mouth. Like, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's pretty fucking cool.
That's really interesting. So Hebrew, when, you know, like in the Torah, there's, depending on the kind of Torah, but often when Hebrew is written, there's no vowels. It's just consonants. And so the vowels are something that we have to import with our previous knowledge. That's fascinating. That's really interesting. And they add up to 19.
Yeah. So of course the Aleph is there. And the Aleph, of course, the letter itself is supposed to stand for God. Yeah.
The whole Jewish mysticism tradition is something I don't know that much about. You probably know more than I do, ironically.
Maybe slightly. So cool, though. I love that Kabbalah shit.
Yeah. We should do Pi, you know, the Aronofsky first movie, because it is about that, the kind of numerology that's a part of the Kabbalah tradition.
So it's funny, through discussion, like I had the sense when I read it that the tables were actually turned, that the villain was actually Borges. But like I'm more not villain, but but I am more convinced that Carlos Argentino like is got a bad rap.
I think he did. I don't think Borges is a villain, though. Like, in a way, I think he is somebody who is trying to come to terms with the fact that as an artist, he can't describe the ineffable. As a man, he can't hold on to the ineffable. And yes, also that this idealized vision of this woman that he loved would be with this pompous, insufferable asshole. But like, you know, in the end, it's Carlos Argentino who this whole time has had this Aleph in his basement and has tried to, maybe incompetently, maybe in a way that's kind of cringy, has tried to express it to the outside world. And in the end, it was just as futile a task as anything Borges is trying to do. He can't hold on to Beatrice. He can't hold on to the memory. He can't hold on to whatever he experienced with the Aleph. And so he's going to figure out ways of trying to deal with that, including being uncharitable in his description of Carlos Argentino.
Right. And it is, I think, worth coming back to what you were alluding to when we started this, when we read the first stanzas of Carlos's poem that sound so cringy. Now that we know what the Aleph is, and we go back to these, you're totally right. Like, yeah, of course, that's what it's insufferable, but it's also trying to accurately describe what this kid has been looking at for like his entire life. I have seen, as did the Greek, the man cities and his fame, the works, the days of various light, the hunger. I prettify no fact, I falsify no name. For the voyage I narrate is autour de ma chambre. Like,
all that's
exactly.
true.
Yeah,
it's 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah. And you really read it differently. Like,
this is a story you have to reread for sure.
Yeah. So good. So good.
All right. We may come back to the themes of this story. I think they are at the center of a lot of the things that we're interested in. But anything else to add?
No, I love you, Jorge.
Yeah.
Unlike Beatrice, I hope you love me back.
He does. All right. Join us next time on Very Bad Wizards.
The great Aleph has spoken. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Who are you? Who are you? A very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Good man. Everybody can have a brain.
You're a very bad man.
I'm a very good man. Just a very bad wizard.